Oh, sweet. Right, we're live.
You are live. Welcome to the HighBrarians, a highbrow Arsenal conversation. Like, we're basically all old school, aren't we? Can't get away from that. And today, just like every other Arsenal fan, we're going to be talking about transfers. So I've got Football Dad's Army here, chatty as ever. And Sean, special guest appearance, last minute addition, because I wanted to give him a hard time about some of the things he's been saying about Kai Havertz. He's going to back out of it now and say he was just trying to have a bit of a conversation, but really he's a massive Kai Havertz fan. He's got the name on the back of his shirt already, haven't you?
Oh my God.
No, not really, no. But I am going to try and play devil's advocate if I can. It's not going to be easy by the looks of things.
No, it's going to be bloody hard. And I'm not going to give you a moment's peace until you accept that it's just nonsense, really. So I suppose to start off with, look, the big stories of today. I did a video yesterday where I sort of said, look, the transfer window's open, but the curtains are still drawn. We don't have Declan Rice through the door. We now looks like we've pulled out of Moses Caicedo. All of the talk has been dominated by Kai Havertz. No one really saw this coming at all. There's no word on Ilkay Gundogan, although that could be good news. Then there's, look, when it also comes down to João Cancelo isn't confirmed one way or the other. Nothing really positive has happened today, except that we're being told Man City are interested in Declan Rice. Caicedo is apparently too expensive. Kai Havertz is a bargain at almost the price we would have paid for Caicedo in a position that we don't need him. So, I mean, who wants to get the ball rolling? Because it's depressing.
I think it's disgusting. It's disgusting. They'll go for Kai Havertz. I can't believe it. It's baffling to me. It makes no sense. Why go for Kai Havertz? You know, you're going to say the stats. He scored, how many league goals he scored? Did you say, Dan? He scored in 3 years?
Well, yeah, just to go through. I mean, like, first of all, to go through, he signed at 21 for Chelsea. His first season, obviously, was under Frank Lampard. He scored 4 goals and 3 assists. You know, then in the second season, he played more minutes, got 8 goals and 3 assists. And then this season, I mean, it's been a bad season, but he's had plenty of time on the pitch. 7 goals, 1 assist. The big question mark around him is that when he came in the first season, he played very much in the position Saka plays. He's a left-footed player on the right, comes inside. Second season under Thomas Tuchel, he played him more as a false 9. Obviously more successful under Tuchel in that respect. He had his best season, but Potter played him back on the right again. And I can see us signing cover for Saka, but can I see us spending 60 million on a moody Chelsea player?
Oh, it's ridiculous, Dan. You know what's going to happen, right? Caicedo, Chelsea want Caicedo as well. And all we're going to do is if we do buy Havertz for 60 million, it's going to fund Chelsea's bid for Caicedo. Why are we helping them? Why that we're helping?
Well, it's not just me. It's not just funding their bid for Caicedo. Is they have a very serious. I mean, the reason Mason Mount's going is because he doesn't see the project working anymore. But Chelsea are going to have to sell players this season to balance the books for financial fair play,
and we're helping them.
They're miles behind. So even helping them with that, I
don't know why Caicedo would leave for European football to no European football. Your Champions League, I could see him doing, but. You know,
he's going for the money,
at the moment. It's Pickers Club almost.
The wages.
Yeah, no, listen, and I think in danger of Caicedo going to Chelsea reminds me a lot of Cucurella going to Chelsea or Basuma going to Tottenham. If you go just on the money, you do a Mudryk, you end up thinking, you know, I'm stuck here on a really long contract because Chelsea have given out these long contracts, the amortization, so it doesn't, you know, they pay it over a longer period.
Yeah.
Comes down to this. I just want to say this one thing because we all get it. This is why I hate the transfer season. Now, when it comes to Kai Havertz, that story was broken last week by Alex Goldberg of Byline, and no one took it seriously. But now that David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano and the BBC and loads of other people have jumped on it, it's definitely true, right? And I think we're all getting upset about it. And there's two things I would say to that. One, it could just be a load of nonsense. There's no evidence this is definitely true. And second of all, maybe I'm getting to a point now with Mikel Arteta where I just trust him. That's something that you said earlier, Sean. You know, you just got to trust this process. This guy's not a dummy. And if he thinks Kai Havertz is good, I don't know where he's going to play him. Maybe he does.
I disagree. I wouldn't take him on a free transfer, Kai Havertz. I think it's disgusting. It's ridiculous. And the Cronkies have got to stump up the money to take us to the next level. Because the season we had last year, if we had signed Declan Rice or Caicedo in the January window, that's
not fair. That was never going to happen. You saw it. Like Moses Caicedo helped Brighton to get their first ever European football, and Declan Rice helped West Ham to win their first silverware. So there's no way either of those teams were selling in January.
Well, what I'm just saying as a point, as what I believe that we would have won the league with either of them players. And for another thing as well, why did we bid 70 million for Caicedo in January, and they're putting out the deal in the summer?
Now, yeah.
I can't. That's something else.
I'm scratching my head about that one as well. Yeah.
No, there is, but James on AFTV made a really interesting point, which was that Arsenal are becoming a kind of club like Vlahovic. We go in for them. If they say no or it doesn't happen, we don't go back in for them. So we're becoming a kind of team where it's you get one chance to join Arsenal, and if you don't take it, you just didn't get a chance. Now, I don't know if there's anything to that, and I don't see the advantage to it, but I will say it doesn't make any sense that you would go in for Moses Caicedo, make him a big part of your plans, and then because they asked for 10 million more, you just go, I'm out. But all of this is why I hate the transfer window, because we're just speculating. It's not like Arteta did a press conference and said, I'm not interested in Caicedo anymore.
Yeah. It's heartbreaking to me, though, because I was right. I was, convinced we was going to get both of them. Or
I still am. I still can't give up on it. I still don't. I'm still not convinced we're not going to get them.
Man City's lingering for Rice now. They're in the background going, right, we wait for Arsenal to make another bid and then we gazump them. What's wrong? City. They're gonna. I think he wants to stay in London. That's a positive point for us.
I think from the way it looks, and again, I'm not in the know, but it looks an awful lot like he's decided ages ago he's coming to Arsenal. That he's had the talks. He likes the project. It's you're right. So maybe he could have his head turned at the last minute by Man City. But at the moment, the reality is Man City can't even persuade Ilkay Gundogan to stay.
Yeah, but
so I don't know. Pep's already come out and said he's got 2 more years. That's it.
Yeah.
So trying to sign a player on a 4-year contract where that player knows who's going to be his manager for 2 years and then who does no idea who's going to be his manager after that. You just don't know what's going to happen with Man City and FFP. Personally, I don't think anything. But I don't know if Man City are offering him necessarily any more than we are. Maybe they are. Maybe they are going to offer him more money than Bellingham's on. But I don't know if they want him that badly.
Well, they were saying there was reports of them showing an interest in Declan Rice. I know. Well, I don't know, but we've been told that he wants to stay in London, and I know Chelsea was his team he supported when he was a boy, but I can't see him going to Chelsea. And not
he's not. He's already because there's 3 things there. The team he played for Chelsea. So the team that he played youth football for is not the same team that it was.
For years, yeah.
Yeah. So Mason Mount is one of his best friends. He's leaving, and they're not playing in Europe, and it's a hot mess over there. Look, bear with me for a second. Is there some chance that we're winding Chelsea up, pretending we're going to buy Havertz so that they've got the money to put in for Caicedo, and then we pull out the last minute?
I was waiting for my in on that one. It wouldn't be the first time that we have let a lot of things leak out while we do something moody in the background. It's strategic, isn't it? Let all the noise happen about a red herring, and then quietly do your business, unbothered by the press and so on. It's a possibility. Obviously, you two are very much hoping. I'm on the fence. it wouldn't be my first choice. And I'll say another thing. It was all relative. How much would it cost? Because if it's 60, 70 million, then I'm out. And
that's what it is. We've made inquiries at the price of 60 million.
Yeah, I'd be looking at 30. I'd be looking at half that. Then I think, yeah, maybe it'd be a bargain. And the other thing is, if by signing him, as you say, a position we don't really need. If he was another Giroud, if he was a plan B striker, I'd say, yeah, fair enough. But he's not. He's another false nine at best. He's a bit taller. He scores a few with his head, fair enough. But he's not a target man. Then I'd say if we don't sign Caicedo because we've signed him, then yeah, I'm out for that one too.
Well, I mean, the one other thing I wanted to talk to you two about is, so Stan Kroenke, all of the Kroenke out, and we've got to change the board and all this, all the smart people who've never managed a football club or run a business that seem to know what you need to do with owners. Oh, we want the Kroenkes out. We want Roman Abramovich to buy Arsenal and just basically demand that we win the Champions League, click his fingers and have us win the Champions League. But that's not going to happen. But I want to talk about the Kroenkes because Stan Kroenke has now become the first person in America to win 3 franchise sports. Colorado Avalanche won the NHL, Stanley Cup. The Denver Nuggets have just won the NBA. And I know a little bit more about this. I don't know anything about hockey or basketball. Sean, you know more about basketball than I ever will. But he's also won the American football and the NFL with the St. Louis Rams or the LA Rams as well. And so this guy is not a dummy when it comes to running football, when it comes to running sporting franchises. He gave an interview right after the Denver Nuggets won, and he talked about Arsenal. But more importantly, he talked about Djogic, who is the player that they went all out and offered $150 million contract. And he said, when you want a championship, you have to go and get it. No one's going to give it to you.
Yeah.
And it seems like he's talking the talk now for Arsenal. And we've all been given this idea, and it's been leaked, like you said, Sean, that we've been given this idea that there's going to be, 200 million. But we don't know where that's come from. We don't know who's talking about 200 million. And ultimately, could there be a lot more in the chest right now? Are we playing games? Are we going to come in and sweep up 3 or 4 big signings, spend 300 million? You've got to remember that in all of our top transfers ever, we've only spent, I think, around 400 million. If you took our top 10 transfers of all time. So this looks like it could be a huge summer for us.
Yeah, but you know what it is as well. We're a bit, especially me, and I'll put my hands up, a bit too impatient. I want the business done and dusted early, and then we can worry about everybody else picking up the scraps and deadline day and all that.
Yeah, but nobody doesn't want that. But here's how I see it. If you're West Ham and you're selling Declan Rice, you want Man City in. You want Man United to have a look around. You want Real Madrid to buy Munich. You're going to wait as long as possible to get as much interest as possible. If you're Arsenal and he only wants to come to you, you don't want to rush this through and get it done quickly. You go, all right, well, look, try and sell him somewhere else. If you've got a promise from the player, it leaves you open to being gazumped. But you have 2 parties in this sale that don't have any kind of impetus to sell quickly. With Moses Caicedo, Brighton are no dummies, but they want way too much for Moses Caicedo. They last January, they were talking about he's worth 140 million. I can't make that make sense in any.
No, he's not. He's not worth that, is he? He's not worth that.
That'd be more than Bellingham, wouldn't it?
He's probably worth the 70 million that we offered for him in January. That's right.
I think that now. I didn't think that in January. In January, I was sure it was a complete rip-off.
Well, he had a great last 6 months, didn't he?
Yeah,
absolutely ruined us, and he played at right back when we played him.
Yeah, I mean, he put himself in a shot. Look, all of our Arsenal fans were really watching him from January, and I watch a lot of Brighton anyway, and I saw him in a completely different light in the last 3 months. He's been immense.
Yeah.
There was, but 70 million, is a number that we've started sort of accepting. That it's a brand new number for us. When Pepe happened, we're like, where did that come from? He must be amazing. And of course, he wasn't.
Yeah, I mean,
now 70 is like a sort of baseline. So the inflation of prices, thanks to Man United and Chelsea mostly, has just taken hold with selling clubs pushing and agents pushing, and we're just sort of accepting it. So yeah, maybe that's what they're doing. But like you said before, Lee, they're willing to spend 70+ million on him in January. Then why not now? When he's had a really good season. So
well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I jumped in, because we don't know they're not now. I mean, we know that they've pulled out. Like in transfers, the way it seems is like everyone always waits for Fabrizio Romano to say something, and I'm, do you know what I mean? I'm all for that. When he goes, right, it's done, then everybody goes, oh, it's done. But most of the time, he's talking shit like everyone else. Like, oh, I think we're going to go in for, where's, like the latest one yesterday was Kylian Mbappe. And whilst I don't really think he's coming to Arsenal, where the hell's he going? Because if he doesn't go to Real Madrid, and obviously everyone thinks he is, but if he doesn't go to, who the hell's got this kind of money? Who on earth has got the kind of money that would pay for Kylian Mbappe?
Real Madrid, Chelsea, they're the only
ones.
What's he on?
His wages is like, what is it, £1 million a week or something? His wages
900,000 euros a week, 50 million a year. His transfer fee is likely to be 150 million euros. So if you did a 4-year contract, that's 350 million euros for Kylian Mbappe. Never mind what it does to your dressing room. That we've just put Saka on 300,000, and he probably worked 3 months to get that. His agents sweating it out to get that. Odegaard's in contract talks now. So we're gonna just go, oh yeah, by the way, here's Kylian Mbappe. He's the future of Arsenal. I don't think it's a good idea. I'm saying that if you're Kylian Mbappe and you're determined to carry on living on like $1 million a week, where are you going? It's either Saudi or, MLS. He might go to United States, because the money, there's a lot that's going on in the States with Apple coming into it, with Adidas. Adidas turnover in profit 12 billion a year, which is about what it would cost to buy the Premier League. Right? So there's a lot of money that's about to come into the Premier League because of the USA World Cup, and because the USA, it's the fastest growing sport amongst under 18s. It's perfect prime time viewing. Todd Bowley's in. We've just had the 49ers consortium buy Leeds. American money is coming into the game now, and the reason it's coming into the game is because they can see this is a huge opportunity to expand football over the next 4 or 5 years, and they want a bit of it. It's money making. So there is money for players like Kylian Mbappe who sell shirts. I just can't see him going to the USA at 24.
No.
Yeah, they normally go when they're a bit older. How old's Messi? 32, 33, ain't he?
35.
Yeah.
Is he 35? Wow. I remember when he made his debut for Barcelona. Oh, God.
Yeah. He nearly signed for us.
He did.
The only reason he didn't sign for us is because we couldn't get a work permit.
Yeah, we got Fabregas instead, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Fabregas.
I love Fab, but like it's not a fair swap, that is it? Like you'd have Messi, wouldn't you?
Of course, 100%.
He'd have gone to Chelsea. I'd have been really devastated. So we are. I mean, we're all just guessing, aren't we? No one's got any firm insights. Nobody knows what they're talking about. I hate it, because we should all just have a break from football, really, and look for and just relax and think about what a great season it was. But instead, a lot of us are getting really hot under the collar because we're signing Havertz, we're pulling out Caicedo. I watched a little bit of Turkish on AFTV, and I like him, but there's just this group of people who get really negative, and it's like we should move like a big club. Okay, well the big clubs haven't done anything yet. They've signed Jude Bellingham at Real Madrid, but City haven't bought anyone.
Yeah.
But where we heard this coming out of Caicedo, that we've heard that from the Times today, yeah.
But in the Times is where we heard it from. No one else has reported it.
Right.
And in the Times, it's a story about Declan Rice, and it's like a throwaway sentence. Oh, yeah, and they've called their interest in Caicedo.
You're Edu, right? You're Edu. Go, that's a lot of money. Like, phone up the Times, tell them we're out, will you?
That's what I'm saying.
That's not going to happen, is it?
Look. Do you know what I mean?
Lee, you've got a comment there. You've got a question, Lee, from one of your guys there. Sorry.
Where?
He says, Lee introduced me to the other lads. I haven't seen them before. Text.
Who is it?
Hi, I'm Dan.
I can't see the chat for some reason.
No? In comments?
No.
All right, you haven't got a panel on the right.
Hang on, let me... Hold it. What have I done? I press something. No, it just says you're in the show.
He doesn't want to have us either. So he says, yo, he says, Lee introduced me to the other lads. I haven't seen them before. Dan over there, Sean here.
We went
Caicedo just went to Chelsea. He said,
apparently, yeah.
We're finding out live here.
Yeah, brilliant. Can someone check that? Because I haven't got my computer. I mean, that would be just typical. How can he go to Chelsea? Like, he's not a winger.
Is that just happened, is it? Why can't I see the chat?
Nothing on you now, anyway.
Is it? Look, I mean, where do you go? Where would you two go for your absolute? I go BBC Sport. If it's on BBC Sport, it's happened.
Oh, for official, yeah, absolutely.
I haven't got my laptop, Andy. Have you got one, Sean?
Yeah, I've got on the other screen, and I've got BBC and I've got News Now, and there's no mention of it. No mention.
Who said that?
Lee, it's Dan. Tex wants to tell you that you're talking to Dan.
Tell Lee it's Dan. Okay, it's Dan, Lee. Another Dan.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he's a young fella, Barcelona fan. He's been on my some of my.
It must be hard being a Barcelona fan.
Yeah,
the years of drought.
I think it's Barcelona and Arsenal.
Blaugrana.
But for some reason I can't see the chat. It's not. I can't see no questions on. I think
he says. It says here. Tell Lee it's Dan. He will know who I am.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, he's come on my channel. Not come on my channel. He's been in the comments on my
Arsenal and Barca. Good for you, man. I would say if I had to support a Spanish team, it definitely isn't Real.
Yeah, and no, you can't support Real. You can't be a Franquista.
Nah.
I live in Spain. Tex. My best mate over here is a diehard Barcelona fan as well. So it's interesting when you have mates from other countries following teams. They have a different way of looking at things, and they give you some more insight. I showed him a list, expecting him to laugh. A list of all of Spurs' recent signings above a certain amount, and he said no. Some of those are really good players, like. Porro is brilliant.
Well, I think Porro is a good player, but you can't get away from the curse of Tottenham. You know, I mean, what do you want to say about Tottenham? Like, every time you see a European final, there's an ex-Spurs player in there. It's like, you know,
yeah.
You go, look, you know,
well, maybe the
Mourinho,
same goes to Chelsea. Back to Kai Havertz again. Maybe the same goes to Chelsea.
So I listen. If Moses Caicedo goes to Chelsea, I think he's done a Mudryk. Fair play to him. You know, they're screwed. I want him to go to Chelsea. I want everyone to go to Chelsea, and I want them to figure out how they can give people a 100-year contract because they cannot afford what they're spending at the moment. Certainly not in the Championship where they could end up if they don't get this right. Pochettino, how about that? Anyone think Pochettino is going to make it work for him at Chelsea?
I'm not. I didn't think he'd done a bad job at Spurs, to be fair. I know he didn't win nothing, but I didn't think he'd done a bad job at Spurs. So maybe he's got money now to spend. And he's trying to spend, but didn't give him nothing to spend at Spurs, really, did they? I don't think.
I love it. Everyone says that about him. Everyone goes, he did a good job at Spurs. He got him to a final.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant. To a final, then he goes to Paris Saint-Germain.
Spurs. They never Harry Kane is all they had when he was there.
But the only reason they got to a final is because they didn't play Harry Kane till the final. Mate, like if you look through who's made a Champions League final, there's loads of weird teams in the final. It's whether you win it or not. They didn't show up against Liverpool. It's one of the funniest, most one-sided. You know, like you're watching that game thinking, God, please don't let Spurs win a Champions League. And after about 10 minutes, you're like, oh, they're not going to.
It was all 4 English clubs in the final, and we just lost to Chelsea.
Yeah,
in our final, and it's like our Spurs are bound to win it now. They're gonna have bragging rights over us like forever.
Can you imagine? You'd never read the end of it. You never would have heard the end of that.
We'd have to pick another sport or something.
Yeah.
Look, I think there's a long time. I mean, I can net Postecoglou. Is that how you say it? Yeah, all right then.
I've never heard of him.
You know,
what is he, Australian or something? Isn't he?
Yeah, he's won in the J League. Chill out. He's going to be amazing.
No.
It does sound a bit like a type of kebab, doesn't it?
Yeah, a delicious kebab.
Yeah.
It does. It sounds like I would order that.
I want one. Kebabs out here are rubbish.
Can't have one. Not till you eat your Arteta. So we're in the same bloody position we're always in, right? We don't know anyone at Arsenal that we can phone up and go, have you had a minor head injury or something? What the hell are you doing with Kai Havertz? And have Edu Gaspar on the phone go, chill out, lads, as if we're signing him. Don't be so stupid. Where would you play him?
He needs to come out. He needs to come out and tell us to chill out, because if we do sign him, oh God, I don't know what. I don't know what.
If he ends up if he's the big signing of this transfer window,
that'd be disappointing.
Well, if he is, he better bloody perform. He better perform. I swear, because I'll be fuming.
This what myself and Dan
perform where?
A lot. Actually,
what, like a song? You mean like do a song and dance routine? What do you talk about? Perform? Where's he going to perform? He plays in Saka's position. Should we play Saka as wing back again and bring in Kai Havertz?
I said he better perform. I said he
what
better
perform?
If he's outside him, I don't think he will. I don't.
You
think
score
he
goals. You mean score goals?
I wouldn't.
How's he going to score goals? He's bobbins. Like if he could score goals, he would have been doing it, wouldn't he? He's got good players around him. He scored the goal. I will say this: that he did win a Champions League final, which is more than any Arsenal player's ever done. But nah, I'd have rather had Timo Werner. Like if I could have had one of the two of them, I'd have had Timo.
Even he was crap at Chelsea, wasn't he?
Yep.
I'd be struggling, honestly, not trying to I hate Chelsea, but I'm not trying to put them down, but I would really be struggling to figure out who I would take out of that team.
I wouldn't even take Mudryk now, after watching him for 6 months.
Obviously not. Mudryk looks like
we dodged a bullet there, didn't we?
Do you see this? Chalkers just put in, he will so surprise us all that they will name a pie after him.
Like a pie.
No. Yeah. I promise to eat this hat on air if we sign Kai Havertz and he does well. All right. And by well I mean let's say he scores 12 goals in a season. I don't know where you play him. I don't know why you play him. I don't know why we're even talking about him. It breaks my heart. Like of all the players in the world we could be talking about, you know, Xavi Simons. Yeah, you can hold me to that, Chalkers.
Because his name's been touted about.
He's a quality player. He's Barcelona Academy. Play anywhere you want across the midfield, because that's what one of the great things about Barcelona.
PSV, isn't he? Is it PSV
now?
he's playing for?
Now he's PSV top goal scorer.
Yeah,
they've got a buyback clause, haven't they? I think Barca. It might complicate
possibly.
things.
I don't know that much about him, to be honest with you, but I'd have him. And the money they're talking about for him is less than the money they're talking. I think there's not a lot being talked about.
Way less. Huh? Like in the 20s and 30s, yeah.
And
that's what we should be looking at. And also, like we've been chatting about before, you know, we need, you know, we've had a successful season, a really successful season, based on a very solid and established first 11. Now, yeah, we're replacing central midfield wholesale. Fair enough, no worries. I understand. But everyone else, those positions are taken. So we need to be signing people who understand that they're not going to be a shoo-in for their position, which is another question mark over Havertz. And so these younger players, these younger up-and-comings are a bit cheaper and are more likely to accept the fact that they're not going to be playing every week.
But you're always talking about Moussa Diaby, right? So do you think you can get a player like Moussa Diaby? But do you think you can get a player like Moussa Diaby to come to Arsenal if you tell him you're not playing every week?
I think I reckon because he can play more than one position. I think that you're more likely to say, listen, I'm not going to tell you who the first 11 is now, but you're going to be in there. Kai Havertz on the other point, on the other side, he's not a flying winger, so I don't fancy him on the right. To be honest, for me, he's a striker. He needs to be a number 9 who can actually do something that Jesus can't do. And those are my main reservations. The main thing going for him, Arteta seems to like it, unless, of course, they're just blowing smoke by our ass. But Diaby is lightning. We have got a player going the other way, we think. And he's also the only one out there, the left-footed right winger. And that is a like-for-like replacement for Saka. So I like the idea of Diaby more than any of the other attacking players.
Listen, I think Diaby's would be a good shout, and I'd quite like to see him. I think Xavi Simons can play across the midfield. Maybe he's not quite as runny as, maybe direct as Diaby. I don't think anyone would disagree that Diaby would be a great signing. If we were all talking about...
It's another person that said Caicedo confirmed Chelsea.
Yeah.
Oh, you're joking. Where have they got the money? How are they allowed to sign players? They're in trouble with FFP, right?
FFP is like what? Like who comes round? Do they come round and what? Like what happens? Like it's just FFP is not a thing.
Blacked out Suburbans, yeah.
I know they that Mudryk was a
like Men in Black.
Still was an 8-year contract, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is Enzo Fernandez. Never mind Mudryk.
Yeah, so
Enzo Fernandez. The money they've wasted is just hysterical. I mean, they go out and get Koulibaly, who was one of the best centre backs in the world, and now I'd play alongside him in a pub league, right? I mean, everywhere you look, Cucurella, Brighton's player of the season. Now he looks like he's only just seen a football a couple of weeks ago. Mudryk, I mean, goes on and on and on. They have got some good players in there. I do think Enzo Fernandez is a great player. You have to build around him. They got to get rid of so many players. And if they're first,
David Trevitt, you're killing me here.
There was something dodgy about that Cucurella deal, because he went to Chelsea, and it seemed like it was like a couple of weeks or whatever it was later, Graham Potter went to Chelsea. So I think that Graham Potter.
I mean that's not a coincidence. We know that of course, right? But then that's like, do you know what that reminds me of? Because when you were talking about Vieira in your post earlier, Sean, it was like I remember the first inkling I had about Vieira. Like we went to watch the Sheffield Wednesday game, and my mate was like, "Who's this Vieira kid we've just signed?" I said, "I don't know anything about him, but we only found out we were buying him because Ajax made an offer to AC Milan, and AC Milan told Ajax Arsenal have already bought him." And we now know from what Arsene Wenger said that even though he wasn't the manager, he organised the Vieira deal and signed Remy Gard just to keep Vieira company. And so, look, and I remember on the nights, the day he played Sheffield Wednesday, and he had these really long, ridiculous legs. He's like 19 years old. He looked like a spider that could play the best football ever. And I think it was a guy in The Guardian wrote the best line about Vieira. It sums him up. It's like Carlton Palmer if Carlton Palmer could play football. I just loved it. But so, like,
brilliant.
But yeah, of course, like, there's no way Harry Potter's gone, oh, what coincidence. Cucurella's here. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't take other players. I'm surprised he didn't take better players. But Cucurella was a great player for Brighton. And now he's fallen off a cliff. And now you can't sell him. Who's going to give you 60 million for Cucurella?
I think I found the source to this. There was an Instagram post of Eden Hazard celebrating a goal, and Caicedo liked it.
Right, well,
done deal.
So does that mean he's gone to Chelsea then?
Well, that's what they said. We got the Express, the Sun. Everyone's saying we got the Metro. He decides to join Chelsea with final negotiations underway. There's whatever that means. Final negotiations, but there doesn't seem to be another source. Oh, Sky Germany. There's Sky Germany.
Well, look, I don't think that Chelsea can splurge that money right now. Although Todd Bowley's done some beautifully stupid things, he's wonderful. I love Todd Bowley. If he could, if there's some way he could take over Spurs as well, I would love that. But right now, I don't think we're going to hear live on air that Moses Caicedo is going to Chelsea. I just don't believe it anyway. And look, I don't.
They're saying Conor Gallagher going the other way because Brighton have expressed an interest in Conor Gallagher before.
Well, you know what, Conor Gallagher, I don't know him that well, but he's
he was
great
brilliant
on FIFA.
At Palace last season before last. He was on loan at Palace, wasn't he? He had a blinding season, and then he gone back to Chelsea last season. He was on loan at Crystal Palace.
Oh right,
not last season, the season before, and he was brilliant. Yeah. I thought he was really good, and then he went back to Chelsea last year for last season, and obviously, you know, the rest is history.
I tell you what, if this speculation was about Mason Mount and not about, I can't keep saying Kai Havertz makes me ill, but like if we were talking about Mason, I'd have him all day. He was brilliant. Maybe that's the only player at Chelsea I would have.
I think Maddison's a better player than Mount.
Oh, he's there. He's looking him and the right back. Well, what's his name? They look like they're going to Spurs. I think Maddison is a very Spursy player.
It's just it's not what we need.
I think he'll go to Spurs and he'll be shit. And I think, you know, he'll have the odd game. But I think the ship sailed for Yuri Tielemans. Obviously, he's gone now. And I think the ship sailed for Maddison. We're punching higher now. But then you say that, and then looks like we might get Gazump for Declan Rice, not get Caicedo, and then you think we are back to a bit of a square one.
Who's the right back at Leicester?
I can't.
That's it. Apparently, we was looking at him.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, well, Fresneda's off. It looks like
they're saying that we're not interested in Fresneda anymore.
Yeah, and I'm not anyway, and I'm not very simply because I don't like players who don't want to come to us when we ask them to.
Yeah.
If you don't want to come to Arsenal, you don't see it as a step up, then all right, don't come. You know, I don't know enough about them. I don't watch Spanish football really. I do just want to quickly mention before it disappears on the chats. Chalkers has said, look, talking of young players, can we have a moment recognising the great example to young players that John Hollins was for Arsenal and Chelsea for that matter? And just to say, rest in peace, passed away. It was either yesterday or the day before. I've seen that. So I don't know if there's anything you want to add in the chat. We'll read it out, or if you want to post something on, and I'll put it on the Facebook group as well. Always sad to see legends go. I'll leave it for you to put something in the chat if you want us to talk about it specifically. I do want to kind of find something else to talk about before we wrap up that isn't like pure speculation and nonsense. The main thing to talk about, though, really, is that we have to kind of come up with what we think is going to happen next season, what starting lineups are going to look like, whether you think that Kroenke is going to put some money into the team, or broadly speaking, whether you think that this process is stalled. And this is where I'm going with this. Like Martin Keown, less so like Martin Keown, but Tony Adams has come out and said he doesn't think we'll ever do better than we did this season. Paul Merson's always thrown it. It's so depressing. Like every time I hear Paul Merson speak, I just go like, couldn't you just have not spoken for the last 10 years? And I'd have such fond memories of you, you know? It really, there's a lot of ex-Arsenal players that are out there at the moment sort of talking about how, well, talking us down basically. And I feel that's kind of in us at the moment. I think as Arsenal fans, we're a little bit convinced that we've blown our chance to win the league. And I'm not really, I mean, I don't know about how you feel, but I'm not there yet. I don't necessarily see Man City winning 4 in a row. It's never happened before.
I can see him winning 4 in a row. I really can.
Favourites. I'm not saying there's not possible, but they've got mass exodus of players leaving there. Bernardo Silva says he wants to leave. Ilkay Gundogan says we lost Sean. But Gundogan wants to leave, or probably wants to leave.
They replace
João Cancelo wants to leave. No, I'm not saying they won't replace them, but when you replace 6 players, starting players, it's hard.
Yeah, I get that. I understand. It could be hard, but they're definitely replacing. They'll probably get Declan Rice. They'll probably get Declan Rice.
You don't think that?
It's something's niggling me, like the blue shark saying in behind, like they was all season behind us. They're looking to nab our players as well.
Yeah, but you
Chelsea
know what I
gazump
said
us,
earlier.
Man City
This
gonna
is
gazump
true.
us.
You're Declan Rice. Do you want to go and play for Pep for 2 years and then know he's going off?
But no, that's true. There is. You have got a point there because you don't know who's going to be the next manager. But this manager's been sacked after signing players, so you don't know for sure, do you? You don't. You're not,
Yeah, I'm
it's not
not.
guaranteed you're going to have the same manager throughout your contract. That's not guaranteed.
No, it
standard,
isn't.
anyway.
But you've got your heart set on playing with your mates Ramsdale and Bukayo Saka. You want to live in London. You want to be close to your family. You've made your mind up ages ago. You're playing in the Champions League. You've joined in a club that came second. Everything, they're giving you the money that you want. And now at the last minute, you're going to go up to Manchester. Play for a team where you don't know. I honestly, I really don't think that Rice is going to City. I didn't think he was going to Bayern Munich. That's turned out to be nonsense.
Do you think we're getting then?
I love this, by the way. David Trevitt said with Rice they will win the quadruple. Might as well anyway. I mean, they've won enough League Cups. But Chalkers has come back with last season was a huge leap forward. I have faith that we will go forward again next season, even if we do sign Kai the Pie. Yeah, I love it. But I love that because I just think what you hear on AFTV and various fan channels is all quite neggy.
Yeah. But we're used to being disappointed. That's what it is. We're used to being deflated.
Yeah, I'm not. But why though? I mean, this season was brilliant. We had a fantastic season, right?
Oh, no doubt. Brilliant season. Season.
I think it's all context. You say we're used to being disappointed. Can you imagine what it's like being a Newcastle fan?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I get that.
Right. So name the. Let's go through it. There's how many teams have won the Premier League?
Blackburn, Man United, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal.
Yeah, it's like 5, 6. Actually, I've challenged myself there. How many is it? I know this. Yeah, Blackburn. Leeds won the first division. They didn't win the. Premier League, did they?
Blackburn.
So Man United have won it 13 times. Man City have won it 7 times. Chelsea have won it 5 times. We've won it 3 times. Liverpool have won it once. Leicester have won it once. Blackburn have won it once. 7 teams have ever won the Premier League.
Yeah.
So we can't really say we're used to disappointment.
Well, we are. Not only through winning the Premier League, but through other scenarios as well, like players, for example. Players coming in and not coming.
I wasn't excited when we signed Ramsdale. I wasn't excited when we signed Ben White. I wasn't excited when we signed Gabriel Magalhaes. I wasn't sure what was going on with Saliba, but I was looking forward to it for 3 years. And then when he finally came, I thought he was going to go. I wasn't excited when we signed Granit Xhaka. I was really happy when we signed Thomas Partey. I was really happy with Odegaard. But we haven't really, sometimes when you're disappointed, like we were talking about Vieira earlier. When we signed Vieira, I wasn't like, brilliant, we've signed Vieira. Sometimes it's good to not be excited by a player that you sign, right?
Yeah, I'll get that.
David Trevitz just said, I've been West Ham 50 years. Imagine being me. Well, right now, it's got to be brilliant being West Ham in it. But then this is what I mean. Like West Ham can have good seasons and enjoy getting into Europe and be positive about it. And I feel like there's a young generation of Arsenal fans. David Trevitz, Chalkers also wrote, disappointment is drawing 0-0 at home to Birmingham in '85 in front of 17,000. Yeah, like I remember the Highbury days where it was gloomy. I don't remember that game. I must say, I don't remember 17,000 either. That must have been a midweek game. But God, yeah, I do remember it being. But it's Arsenal, isn't it? We're Arsenal. It doesn't. Disappointing is if you don't get to watch football. Disappointing is the next 5 weeks. If we don't sign anyone this summer. but we go on and play just as well as we did last summer, I'll be happy. I don't think we should all throw our toys out of the pram like so many of the younger fans are doing, like when we don't sign the marquee players. We didn't sign Benzema and we still did all right, you know. We do sign Ozil, and he was great for the club, but didn't, you know, I'd rather be...
I didn't think he was when Sanchez was there, him and Sanchez together, and he was feeding Sanchez a little bit for that one season. I can't remember what year it was now. But I don't think Ozil, when Ozil got that big contract, like when Aubameyang got the big contract, it seems to when these players get the big contracts, is that they just drop off and they just like don't try anymore.
Let's hope not, because we've given them all massive contracts, haven't we? We've given like Saka a massive contract.
I'm worried about Saka now.
I'm not.
They're 4 years, aren't they?
Listen, I wouldn't know. I've never earned 300 grand a week yet. But I honestly, for a lot of these players, I really do think that if the money comes second, they want to be, you know, they want to be playing, they want to win trophies. Look, I tell you what, Declan Rice is a perfect example of that. What a man. He could have taken 200 grand a week off of West Ham and promised them to stay and still manoeuvred a move away. He hasn't. So obviously money's not that important to him if he's turned down £10 million. He could have been earning that to now.
Yeah,
right?
No, that's true, because he could have signed that contract 2 years ago. They offered him that. And he said, no, I'd rather see.
It's a lot of money.
I don't want to renew. You know,
and look at Caicedo. He signed a new contract in January, February, didn't he?
January.
He's in a position to play silly buggers with the transfer. That's what I wanted to speak to you two about, actually. What do you think about these gentlemen's agreements that always seem to end up cocking us over? You know, don't worry, you'll be fine. We're not going to go anywhere this winter, this January, but we will sell you, and it'll be fair. And yeah, Arsenal's agreed for personal terms. It's grand. Just sign this contract here, and you'll be grand.
Didn't Harry Kane have the same thing with Man City a few years ago?
And they screwed him over. Yeah. See, that's what I love about West Ham, though, because much as I was blown away that David Sullivan came out the next day and said he's definitely leaving, I don't think that was classy at all. But we talked about this last week, but I do think that when it comes to a team like West Ham, there's a massive, you can see the difference between West Ham and Tottenham right there. Because Daniel Levy goes, gentleman's agreement, Harry, you can leave. You've done a lot for the club. Then it comes up and he goes, no, 100 million's not enough. I'm going to need $1 billion, squillion, $trillion to get, you know. So he's full of shit. But I think gentleman's agreement, it really depends on if you've got a gentleman the other end of it. Exactly. I think Brighton are an honourable club and they will let Caicedo leave. And I think that's the agreement they struck with him. But why his agent didn't insist on it being in the contract? That's insane.
But like I'm reading up when I was off there, I did a bit more reading up. The other twist of the story is that his agent's demanding 200 plus a week, and Chelsea's willing to pay that, and Arsenal's spitting up their coffee. So it might be a personal terms thing, but we were told previously that personal terms were agreed back in January, so it's possible.
We
said, well, that's old news, and he's gone back to the negotiating table. So if the agent is gazumped, if the agent has gone back on his word, I could see Edu saying, "All right, mate, see you later."
No, I mean, listen, I think you make a really good point there as well. I think if the agent came to me and said, "Yeah, Moses is 200 grand a week," I go, "You know, he's 21 years old, right? You know, he's had a good season and a half, but why does he need to go from 5 grand in January to 200? You know, what's he got, gambling debts or something? Do you think he came out on social media and said, I've got to feed my family? How many people in this family, by the way? You know, a lot of people can feed their family on less than 200 grand a week. I mean, if you're feeding, I could feed a lot of, I mean, it really is. I think this is what negotiation is, right? And this is where it drives us mad, because we want it to be, do you want to, this is where the Declan Rice thing, and I think Declan Rice is an absolute, it typifies what I love about West Ham as well. He's got his dad doing his negotiating, and he's gone, yeah, look, 200 grand a week is fine. You know, I'll take that, or 300 grand, or whatever they're going to offer him. And I think they'll give him 300, and he's got to be worth it, right? Because he's 3 years down the line from Moses Caicedo. There's no doubt about Declan. If you sign Declan Rice, that's a guarantee that player is going to be good. And we only just started seeing the best of Declan Rice. He is going to be, I mean, when I love the Jack Wilshere interview he did on Fozcast, because he was talking about how when he trained with Declan, he goes, "You're never going to believe this, but he's got one of the best finishes in the team. He is stunning in front of goal." So if you're looking at Declan Rice as someone who can potentially start taking that 8 position as well, he's bolted on to be amazing. But that's why I think it carries a lot of weight. If Declan goes, "I want to play for Arsenal," there is no agent to get involved.
He's on 125 at the moment, according to
Dave. Who is Caicedo?
No, I'm assuming David means Rice. Because Dave's
say that again.
West Ham fan. He's on 125 at the moment.
Yeah, who is?
We assume Rice.
Oh yeah, I mean he's going to get a bump up. He's worth. I mean, whatever Declan. I mean, Declan Rice is worth 300 grand a week if Saka is. You know, and I haven't got a problem anyway. It's not my money. Like, spend it.
And I think the point you just made there is really important. There, you know, in January we heard about Caicedo, and we're like, "Hey, what? 80 million? What's going on? Hey, whoa! You know, this is crazy." Okay, now we've come round because we've had a look at his stats, and they're mind blowing. But you know, he comes from Ecuador. He's been playing the Premier League for 1 year. He's 21 years old. You said there's no doubt with Rice. You're buying someone with very low risk. You know he's going to be a top performer over a period of time. Caicedo looks really, really good, but he has not put that amount of time in. He doesn't have that much background. So there is a bit more risk in the Caicedo transfer than there is with the Rice. So if they want something similar money-wise, you can see why you'd drop Caicedo and not Rice.
Yeah. Oh, listen, if it came down to a straight choice between Rice and Caicedo, I don't even hesitate. Caicedo, I think, is a lot of what we need, and we need someone who says see ball, get ball. Like Caicedo is a great ball winner.
I was having dreams of that. I was having dreams.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
What, both of them?
No, for both of them. And I thought Rice at 8, Caicedo at 6 was made more sense to me. Though some people have seen it the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, I think I want Party gone, so I know I'm probably extreme in this one. I was
having dreams about them two being the next Vieira and Petit.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, having both of them in the midfield, like Vieira.
I think arguably that'll be a whole new chapter in Arsenal, because Caicedo and Rice both shield the back four. We know we need to shield the back four. But then it comes back to one we haven't really spoken a lot about, which I would say, if we can only have 3 players through the door.
Apparently, he was going to move on.
No, I'd say João Cancelo is as important to me as everyone but Rice and Caicedo. So I'd love Ilkay Gundogan, but he's 32. You know, I'd love Xavi Simons, but he's got a bit of an ego, I'm sure. Look, if we could get João Cancelo, then we invert far better than we do at the moment, and on both sides. But Ben White can come into centre back more. But what if we really want to protect our back four? Because look, we can see we shipped as many goals last season as Chelsea. So what do? You're not changing that back four unless you bring Cancelo in. You need to upgrade those players. Saliba's got a new contract. Gabriel's, captain material. Ben White played a stormer at right back. I know we're looking for right backs. And we've got Kivior, Zinchenko at left back. And I don't think we're going to change the back four. What's happening is that we're conceding too many goals down that left side. So you either swap out Zinchenko altogether and upgrade him, and there's no talk about a left back coming in apart from João Cancelo, or you put 2 players in front of them for the tough games that you just don't get past. And I'm reading Ray Parler's autobiography at the moment again, and he's brilliant. But he talks about when he played at his best. Tony Adams once said to him, he said, "You were outstanding today," because no one got anywhere near that back four. And that Arsenal back four would have been fine under pressure. But to have players over the years like Parler, like Petit, like Vieira that just stop you attacking, that's where we transition to a title-winning side. And if we can't get Rice and Caicedo, then we still have players like Thomas Partey who can do a job there. Fine. But if we don't get either Rice or Caicedo, then we're just the same team, but with hopefully a little less naivety and youthfulness.
I remember looking at the stats with you for the previous season, and the one that really jumped out was interceptions. And Rice and Caicedo were 1 and 2 for interceptions in the Premiership season. Just gone. They were both of them.
Who is the highest rated Arsenal player?
Well, for interceptions, I'll look it up again now.
Have we got anyone? I mean, Xhaka, I'm not sure. It probably would be Partey, wouldn't it?
Probably would be, yeah. I mean, let's not forget Partey had a really good game against Liverpool. You know, that game that we should have won.
He's allowed. I mean, listen. I'm not. It's not malice. I don't hate him. I just don't believe in him. He's not for me. I think that if you're going to miss so many of the big matches and then go missing in big matches, and you're hitting the wrong side of 30 imminently.
I'm often.
I just think his character's not right. He's not.
Are on. I'm not. I can't work out. So I'll talk to you. Okay.
We've got a bit of an internet fart going on here, have we?
What's he saying?
Not sure. We've got a bit of an internet problem, I think.
Are you there, Lee?
I think he was having trouble hearing you. I was hearing you okay, although your picture's gone a bit blurry.
That's just me.
What have we got? No, there's no one in the top 10 for Arsenal in interceptions.
That's why it's so pivotal that we go out and get Rice or Caicedo or somebody who can protect the back four, because we've got Xhaka playing more forward than he ever has.
Rice number 1 with 63, Caicedo second with 56. Do
you know what I was saying to you though as well? Paulinho. How no one's talked about us yet. I mean, if we can't get Rice or Caicedo, we have to go in for Paulinho or someone like that.
Top of the tackles with 147. Caicedo second with 100. Yeah. That's a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, 47 tackles more. Why isn't someone going? Do you know he's got apparently a release clause of 30 million?
Yeah. Yeah, Casemiro's 89.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes, listen, it's lies and statistics. When it comes to it, there's got to be. I mean, Fulham, but I love Paulinho. When we played Fulham at Craven Cottage, he wasn't playing, and they were totally bobbins against us. I mean, we slaughtered them, but there wasn't anyone winning the ball for them, so we had a bit of a free for all. Lee, are you unmiked or something? What's going on? Do you know any sign language?
He's very pensive.
Do you know sign language for what do you think of Tottenham? I think he's pretending to be frozen, but I'm going to carry on regardless. So yeah, we desperately need to sign defensive midfield. But this isn't new at Arsenal. You know, we need to sign a defensive midfielder. We signed Nicola Pepe. We need to sign a defensive midfielder. We signed Lacazette, Aubameyang. We need to sign a defensive midfielder. Now the first bit of business we're looking to do is for Kai Havertz. We need a defensive midfielder. We need 2 of them because Granit Xhaka, one of our only defensive midfielders, is about to go to Bayer Leverkusen. So, like, we need
I
to replace
mention
him.
that as well. You're talking about protecting the back four, and saying Partey, isn't always there in the big games. Can you not hear me at all, Lee? Can you hear me? Yes, or can you not hear me? No, Lee. No, you can't hear us. Well, I can hear you fine.
Leave and come back.
Can you hear us? See if that comes through.
Well, of course they can. I mean,
they should do. I mean, we're in different countries.
How can I hear you and no one else can?
Yeah. I just wanted to talk about protecting the back four. I just want to say that, we've had this amazing season with Xhaka, and there's been all this talk about how he's been ghosting into the area and doing these things on attack. There's not been that much talk about how much protection he was offering the back four. And when you have a look at Declan Rice, piling in on in the press there against Partey and then passing it through for that West Ham goal, where was Xhaka for that? You know, I'm not trying to point the finger at him, but what I'm saying is that I'm looking at our central midfield stats, and we've scored a few goals from Xhaka and Odegaard, but we haven't assisted. And looking at it now, De Bruyne had 16 assists from the centre. He's the top one. Oh, he's gone.
Hopefully he's going to go and come back. But this is the point that's being made, though, that Xhaka getting forward more has left Zinchenko. I mean, Zinchenko was at fault for at least 3 goals last season. But that left-hand side, we concede most of our goals down the left and score most of our goals from the right. And Ben White is not inverting as much as Zinchenko. But if you've got, instead of Granit Xhaka, Declan Rice covering that left side, and he has a left-sided bias, then you theoretically reduce the number of goals you concede down that side.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's what we're both driving at there. He's got a good engine and he's fast. And Xhaka's famous for not being that fast. And I think if you're going to do the 2 things that are expected, you're going to have to be fast, aren't you? Can you hear us?
I can hear you now. Yeah, I don't know what was happening there. Like you 2 went off, and I was like on my own. Was I off on your screen?
No, we could see
you were on. We just couldn't hear you.
Yeah, you're sort of doing the Marcel thing a lot, and
yeah, but you know, you 2 was off on my screen, and it was like spinning like that, both of you. And I was looking at the camera, thinking, what's going on? I mean, I started talking like because you was talking about Ray Parlour. So I couldn't.
Have you been drinking, Lee?
No.
How many of me can you see?
4.
Not enough.
The message up on here now where we weren't before. So
I've just realised I can touch them and bring them forward.
Yeah, you touch them and they highlight. Yeah.
Well, I know that now. Chalk, has he been carrying an injury? I think it's just this isn't me trying to be horrible about Thomas Partey. I've never played football at the highest level or competed in front of millions of people. I think he has a confidence issue. I do not think he is one of the great players. I think he's a good player, and I think he deserves to make a good living out of football. But I think if you want to be the best, he's not Rodri. He's not Gundogan. He doesn't pop up in the big games. He had a great game against Liverpool, and I think that was the last great game he's had. And I personally hope it's the last great game he's had, because I just think that what we thought we were signing, I think the pressure of that got to him, like it got to Pepe. I think Pepe is probably a really lovely guy. I know that we're probably going to cancel his contract and let him go and terminate his contract rather than, keep him on the books. I don't hate the idea of bringing Pepe back and giving him one last shot at it. Let him have one last crack at being an Arsenal player. And if it doesn't work, look, we've done our money on him anyway. No one's coming in. No, we get 10 million. If we get 10 million for Pepe right now, it'd be a fucking miracle.
Yeah, I agree. And, he had that good game in Europe, didn't he? In Europa League, he scored 2 free kicks. Exactly the same goal. I can't remember what team he was playing against now. But I remember the 2 free kicks.
Who? Pepe or Partey?
Pepe.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
he's got. Remember, we was we losing 1-0 when we got an equaliser and a winner? So it was something like that.
It's all about the pies. It's all about the pies.
It really isn't it?
You've made it.
Pie habits. I think when you look at our team, you could do what I would call the City test, right? So just go through the first 11 and see how many of those, if we sold them, would go to a club bigger than us. Obviously there isn't a club bigger than us. We're the biggest team, best team in the world. But joking aside now, which of our first team? Ramsdale is apparently the most highly valued goalkeeper in the world now, or best value or something. So you figure he would probably. Huh?
I said Saliba as well. We'd go to a bigger club.
Well, yeah. I mean, they want him, don't they? Paris Saint-Germain want him.
Yeah.
Whether you can call them a big club or not.
Well, Real Madrid are.
Later, David. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of it as well. Really appreciate it. Great to see you.
It's too bad actually. I wanted to speak to David. He said that our club had pissed his club off. I think he's believing the narrative about Arsenal being arrogant, thinking that we can just swan in and take their best player. And I actually think that we've been quite respectful.
You have to wait for the biographies to come out, though, don't you? We never know. But yeah, I'm glad you're right, and I'm glad you said that. That's absolutely how I feel. I feel like I don't think we have been disrespectful. I think we've been less disrespectful than David Sullivan, honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shots on target.
But I say the reason I say that thing about if you hang on. Oh, right. If you had to choose between one player, any player to go to Arsenal, who would you pick? I bet Lee would go to Arsenal. What?
If you had to choose one player, any player, to go to Arsenal, who would you pick?
He says, all right, hang on. So this is from David. So glad you're not quite gone yet, David. And this one is Lee would pick Mbappe. If you could have any player in the world go to Arsenal, who'd you pick?
I don't think I'd pick Mbappe, to be fair. I don't think I would. That's a tough one because
I picked Declan Rice. I know it sounds silly. I'm that sure about Declan Rice as a character.
Yeah, well, that's what we need. It's exactly what we need. I don't think we need an Mbappe.
Haaland.
I'd love him to go there. But
shut up, Haaland.
I was about to say Haaland.
No, you weren't. How can you two be so wrong? He's like a Labrador on speed. I can't stand watching him. You'd have to watch him every week.
Goals he scores.
Yeah, but they've dried up. Look how many he scored in the Champions League final, right?
No, only in the Champions League.
I think he's.
Why do you think he's? Look, we don't know what we've offered, and of course, value is completely subjective. So I don't know how we come up with that. What do we think he's worth? What is Rice worth? Because the value of players is changing so rapidly at the moment. If we're to believe that the Bellingham has gone for what they reckon 115 plus add-ons or something like that.
Don't know what his salary is, but his salary is 400 a week. Then you've got to factor that in as well. I'm going to say I don't. If we've got 200 million and it takes, I would say I'd spend half of it on Rice. I mean, we're so close to the valuations now. They should just be doing it. They should just be doing the business.
Yeah, I know.
Why can't they just say how much you want? Oh, you want 100 million? There's 100 million. How hard is it?
Well, I don't know because it's not my money. But when you start talking about it, going, yeah, well, we got it for 80 million and we saved 20 million. That's what we spent on Kivior. That's roughly what we spent on Trossard. So if you're saying it is worth holding out, it's worth negotiating.
Why negotiate? You want him that badly? Just say how much you want for him.
Because West Ham will go 120 million, and that's a lot of bunts.
On the other hand, you go, I'd like some water. I said, I got some water. What do you want for it? Oh, I'll have it £1, please. So I'll give you 50 cents for it. You go, no. I'm not offended by you offering me 50p for something that I value at a quid. I'm not going to go away stomping my feet or going off and cry. I'm just going to say, no, I'm not selling it for that. All right. That's the end of the conversation, isn't it? And I don't think people need to get so emotional about these situations. You reckon he's worth 120 because you've just pinned the tail on the donkey. And we go, well, we'll give you 80. They go, no.
No, but look, David's just put this down there, and I agree with him. He, of course, to West Ham, he's worth 120 million. He's a captain. He led them to a trophy, and the potential we're getting is huge. And when you talk about value, it's not like you spend 120 million on Declan Rice and then 4 years down the line, that's it, you've had it. If we sign a 24-year-old at 120 million and prices stay where they are now, we'll sell him and get about that back for him in 4 years. I mean, I know things can happen, but the chances of Declan Rice's value falling off like Harry Maguire's or Anthony's or Jadon Sancho's or any other Man United player you want to mention. I don't think it's going to happen. I think this guy is absolutely going to be one of not only that, but he's an England regular, and I think he continues to be.
Well, why stop there?
Be
why
our
not
captain.
150? Why not 180? I mean, these are just arbitrary numbers, you know.
I think you've made a good point there, Dan. You know why? Because all them players you just mentioned that have lost their value are supposed to be goal scorers, attacking players, and that's where their value. That's where they hold their value. Declan Rice ain't got to do that. He ain't got to score goals to be valuable. He's just got to. He's just got to.
No, I mean, look at that's a really good point. Look at Casemiro. You know, he's got almost. How old is he? 30, 31, and he's still going for 6.
No, he's 32, 33, I reckon. Yeah.
He's still brilliant. He's brilliant.
He's still brilliant, but he's still worth 60, 70 million right now.
Exactly that. So and he's 30, 32, 33 or wherever he is. Right,
brilliant. So I think in this position you save look. I think Declan Rice could be captain for Arsenal one day. I think we're looking at a situation where Sean, I totally take your point, right? The market is determined. The value of a player is determined by the most someone will spend for him, right? Okay. So if we're in a foot race with Man City and they go, we'll give you 150 million for him, then I would say match it. And if they go up to 200 million, try and price us out, I would say match it till you absolutely can't match it anymore, because he might be the one player that you need to bring in to make a difference. If he prevents 5 or 6 goals in a season and that pushes you up, we don't need to score more goals. We just need to protect that left side. So if, however, the player is pivotal here, if the player goes, look, I don't want to go to Man City, West Ham, no. The only place that Declan Rice wants to go is Arsenal. They've got to do something to drum up as much money as they can get.
Yeah.
You know, they apparently were interested in taking Smith Rowe. They said they would take money in Smith Rowe. We don't want to lose Smith Rowe. I'm thrilled about it. You know, I'm thrilled about that. They should take Nketiah.
That'd be great if they could.
They need him as well, because Antonio that's it, right? And I'd love to hear what David thinks about that, because I think you need a forward more than you need Smith Rowe. But I think, look, West Ham already got Paulinho lined up as a defensive midfielder. They could use the extra money. They're not going to spend a lot on him. They could use the extra money to really strengthen that team. If they took 90 million plus Nketiah off us, and they used 30 million to buy, I think that, you know, Paulinho and Nketiah plus 60 million, that's a bloody good deal. But if there are other teams out there that are looking to pay 150 million for Rice, and I don't think there are, by the way, I don't think Man City are coming in at 130 or gazumping us. Chelsea definitely aren't.
What surprised me, though, Chelsea.
Have a look at someone like a similar player, like N'Golo Kante, more Caicedo than Rice, in my opinion, but there we go. That was 2015. He went for 9 million to Leicester. And then in 2016, a year later, he went to 35.8 to Chelsea. All right. Top player in the Premiership. Yeah. So we're talking how many years since then? So that's 2016. We're now in 2023. So we're talking about 7 years. Now, 100 million is derisory for that type of player. Now you're saying, oh, you're lowballing us with 100 million or 90 million or something like that.
Yeah, I think there's some sane ground between the idea that we're lowballing someone with an offer which is 30% more than we've ever spent on a player before, and the idea that, you know, he is or isn't worth that. To the question, is Declan Rice worth 120 million? I'm going to say,
cheers, Tex.
See you, Tex. I'm going to say, yeah, I'd spend it, but I would be a terrible negotiator, because I'd be like, I really want him. Can we just have him, please? You know. Yeah. And I think Edu came under some fire today. I saw that on AFTV. Now, I know they're reactionary, and I know that you get a lot of these fanzines, and they're like, if we don't get this done, it's disgusting, I'm angry. And, you know, you think Stan Kroenke's probably sitting in his Learjet flying around going, oh, no, I've upset the AFTV fan base now, what? You know. But we have to do sensible business as well. If he said to Edu, you've got 200 million, and Arteta's gone, I need a defensive midfielder, I need cover on the right, and I need a full back, left or right back, and a centre back, and he's trying to juggle and make it work. You cannot literally spend all your money on Declan Rice. I get that, but you do desperately need a defensive midfielder, and one defensive midfielder that you've got that's played all right, although you haven't played him as a DM traditional 6, you played him as an 8, is Xhaka, and he's going. So where you're really, if we don't do some business on a DM this summer, I have never shot down a transfer window before. I've never hated on a transfer window, but I'll be gloomy come that August. I mean, if we're lining up in the Charity Shield and we haven't strengthened defensive midfield, and Declan Rice is taking a pitch against us, you have to question the process at that point. You have to go, what is the point of this process?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, the way it's been built up, I think any of us
Sorry, guys,
get both of them. But there's very, very strong Chelsea rumours all of a sudden about.
I'm going to have to go, Dan.
Yeah, no worries. Good to see you, Lee. Yours on next week, is it?
Dan, I'm going to have to go. But yeah.
Are we doing it on yours next week?
Yeah. We talk on the WhatsApp during the week. Yeah.
All right, mate. Good to see you again. So, I mean, I don't think we need to keep going too much longer.
No.
But you're completely wrong about Kai Havertz. I want a full and grovelling apology for even suggesting that we should buy him. You should be stripped of your Arsenal fandom.
That's fine. That's all right. No, I just want to hear someone trying to say something positive about it, even if that positive thing is then dashed on the rocks. Because
I'll say something positive about it. Save that shit up for April Fools. It's just not like, it's the positive thing is that Kai Havertz gets to go home to Germany, where he's obviously less grumpy and less surrounded by Chelsea, and he gets to never talk about his time at Chelsea ever again. And I hope he wins loads of trophies, whatever. But
there we go.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem with Kai Havertz is not that he isn't the right player. I don't think he's even the right position that we should be looking for at the moment. But look, they know behind it. They know if we're selling Balogun, they know how much for. Hopefully, they know.
Oh my God! I mean, I would so rather have Balogun.
Me too. Yeah.
I mean, Kai Havertz.
Everyone wants to see him given a chance.
I don't know why. I don't know if we're definitely not, or if we definitely are. You have to just look at how much there was talk around. Saliba's not coming now. That's it. And then he did. So I think it's just so complicated when you've got so many people that won't tell anything like the truth.
Personal terms. We've agreed personal terms. That's a really nice little bit of smoke to blow up people's arse in the personal terms. It's very difficult.
I love that. I've agreed personal terms with a tenant of a house I want to buy. The landlord isn't involved yet, but do you know what I mean? Like he's happy to have me as a new landlord, so that's all done now. I've agreed personal terms with a can of Coke, and the shopkeeper's just got to dot the I's, cross the T. It's like do the deal with the actual people that have the product, not the product. That would be
Yeah, that's a story about Havertz. You'll be pleased to hear. Apparently, we've agreed personal terms close to 200 a week.
But I don't think it's enough. I think Chelsea were paying him 200 a week and he was crap. So let's pay him 400 a week and see if that unlocks the goal menace that is represented by his. I was saying this to Lee. I don't know if I said this to you, but this is a quote from Havertz, right? So he was asked. I'm going to do this. This is verbatim. I'm not messing around here. Because I can't believe this. Kai Havertz was asked by a reporter this season, where's your best position? He rolls his eyes and says, everyone asks this question. And after 3 years, everyone should know by now where I can play and what I can do. And I felt like saying, we should. We should answer. We should know that. Why don't we? What have you been doing? You've been playing on the right wing. If Saka had been playing like you, no one would know either, right? I mean, honestly. And then he goes on to say, I like to be in the box. I like to score goals. I like to arrive in the box often. I don't care if I'm a 9 or a 10. I'm there to score goals, and that's it. Well, go on then. Do you know what I mean? I'm there to score goals, and that's it. So
Yeah,
So
well, you
what's
should know
happened?
that. You should know that anyway. He likes to score goals. The reason you should know that is because of all those goals he scores.
Yeah. So he's scored 19 goals in 3 years, which is
There you go.
very,
What
very
more do you
close
need?
to what Odegaard scores in 1 year.
Right.
So maybe don't swap Odegaard for Kai Havertz just yet. Anyway, you know, just saying. Maybe not Jesus. Maybe don't swap Jesus, who's fun to watch, for Kai Havertz, who just doesn't look like he enjoys football. Maybe he's a great skier or something. Maybe he could do something else with his life. I'm gutted that we're even talking about Chelsea players anymore.
Well, let's hope it's what we think it might be. Let's hope it's
it's a smoke screen. It's some sharp practice. It's Machiavellianism. It's us going, hey, Chelsea, do you want 60 million? Look, we've got 60 million here. Yeah, just give us one of your worst players. Yeah, Kai Havertz, if you like. Here's 60. Oh, I left my money at home. Wait there a bit and I'll go and get it. Just fucking no way we're giving them 60. Oh, you're in trouble. You need money. Oh, why didn't you say that we've got our tight-fisted owner's got millions and it's like a we're spending money like it's a Denver Nuggets. Go on. You know, I think we should play Jogic up front.
Smoke screen for Vardy. Vardy's too good for us. He's too good for us. And he doesn't want to come anywhere.
Vardy. There are some characters in football that I love, and I think that I think I said this about Declan Rice a little while ago. I think if Declan Rice turned us down like Vardy turned us down to stay at West Ham, and looks like Vardy's going to stay at Leicester and help them to come up again, that'd be the last thing he does. That's classy.
Fair enough.
That's classy. And like these players don't scoop a lot of trophies. He has got a Premier League and an FA Cup, which is more than Harry Kane can say. It's more than Alan Shearer can say, actually. But you know what? If Vardy, yeah, he's one of the characters I love. I mean, there's players that show loyalty to a team that's really their home team, and they sacrifice something to do that. I mean, I would say the same about Harry Kane, except it's completely different with Harry Kane. He's just too scared to go and play at a proper team. But like Vardy, you know, we missed a chance to sign him, but we never really had a chance to sign him.
It was all done, wasn't it? And he just backed out last minute. He said, "You know what? I can't leave." And you go, "Fair enough, then. Enjoy." And look, he's got relegated now. No Schadenfreude in it for me, but you do make your bed and you sleep in it. And he's continuing his loyalty. So I go, "Yeah, fair enough. I'd like to think I'd be the same." But you know, there's agents. And if the Caicedo thing does go south, that will be where my finger's pointing. His agent. That's
well, he's got families to feed. You know, like Ecuador he's feeding all of Ecuador, and they're fussy eaters. So he's going to be feeding them Wagyu and 200 grand a week.
Yeah,
Happy Meals that buys.
Yeah. Let's leave it at that then. I get over my children misbehaving in the background. I have to go and administer some corporal punishment.
Go and imagine they're Caicedo's agent, and
I will. Things could get out of hand. Best not.
Right, good to see you. I'll speak to you soon.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Cheers now.
Bye now.